I see. Good morning, cryptocurrency investors. Welcome to A Newer World. I am your host, Mr. Julian, and this is your co-host today, the lovely Miss Hope.
Hi, how's it going?
I told you I knew people. So, if you were watching yesterday, I came out a little frazzled, and that's because I'd been watching the markets all night, and there was a major correction. And what I had just done was shift some of my money from cash into Ethereum at about 1,000, while simultaneously switching my Ethereum into a couple of other things, Ripple and Neo mostly, because I already have Cardano. So those are basically the three alts. I don't even consider Ethereum an alt anymore because it's like.
No, it's an established platform.
Yeah, now I was going to get around yesterday to talking about the difference between a value holding coin like Bitcoin and a functional or a transactional, a contract based system like Ethereum, but I didn't because I was too frazzled. But
So what is the difference?
well, Ethereum is built around smart contracts. Bitcoin is built on it's just essentially everyone who owns Bitcoin owns a particular share of a substance, and how much of it they own, it wouldn't necessarily have value except for the fact that we know it has permanence and it has scarcity. So those two things for a financial world almost can't help but make us start assigning things values. It has some.
Well, yeah, it's got more permanence and substantiality than, say, the U.S. dollar.
Whether it has more substantiality than dollars, not, I think you're probably right. But here's the thing: it definitely has more permanence. This is the blockchains definitely have more permanence than what we might call physical reality. Physical reality comes and goes, but the blockchain will literally continue.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't know how Buddha would talk about it if he were here. He would talk about how everything's being transient now, except blockchains. Those are here to stay.
Yeah, they don't really depend on the human survival, so aliens could use this technology.
That's right. But they won't know any of our passwords, so they'll be locked out of accessing any of our bitcoins.
If they've got space travel, I'm pretty sure they could crack like a password or two. I mean, we've got humans can do that.
Oh, that's true. If we told them nude pictures of
and aren't most of your passwords just like password anyway?
I told you all of my passwords.
Yeah, you're right. Crack that shit.
Okay. So I moved some money into Ripple, as I mentioned, and we were talking just a little while ago about market cap, about how Ripple, it seems to have this incredibly low price of $1.59, but that's because there's 38 billion of them. And when Ripple spiked at 3.5, its inventor was briefly wealthier than Mark Zuckerberg, our overlord. My God, so over the last 24 hours, like my Neo is up 30%, my Ripple is up an incredible, it was all the way down to about $1 when I was buying it, and it's up 60%.
Nice.
In the last hour. This is why my stock investors who say, "Oh, you shouldn't be messing with that crypto stuff," and I'm like, guys,
get with the times. Come on.
When you're up 60,
people saying like cell phones are never going to catch on.
No, when these guys are up 60% over 3 years, they make a big speech about it.
I mean, it's seriously like the people who are going, "Oh, computers are never going to be a thing." You're like, no. Computers are a thing, and so is the blockchain.
Yeah, the blockchain technology is real, particularly, I think, the contractual technology.
I think they're just scared.
Well, there's a history in stock of not believing in things that aren't stock, and
that's how they keep their monopoly.
Now, So Ethereum is saying, because you can write smart contracts into it, you can write derivatives trading. You could write, if you and I, it's almost like it's the guy who holds the money in a gambling casino. So we could both put a bet down on Ethereum, and the contract is programmed to pay us back out based on some outside factor. It's an unbreakable contract, which if you've ever had a contract, you know is a really good thing because let me tell you, people break them. So these unbreakable contracts, and it can give permanence to things. That's why tokens trade on Ethereum. It has to use the same smart technology to fix the price of the token based on something outside
Right, a good
Ethereum itself. Exactly. And that's why you could do persistent, persistent virtual items can exist within the Ethereum network. That's the basis for CryptoKitties, which is essentially like a trading card game. Similar, like if you remember. Do you remember?
CryptoKitties is like already pretty much phased out. You know that, right?
But it's actually frozen because it froze the whole Ethereum blockchain. Everyone is waiting, trust me, to trade their kitties again once the network is unfrozen. But whether it will be unfrozen or whether the Ethereum blockchain is simply too unwieldy, we don't really know. It may have to be something else, but they're trying something called sharding to try to give it a little boost. And
that is the worst name for something ever.
I think it's awesome. It's a great homonym.
Do they not know what sharding is?
They know exactly what sharding is, I'm sure. People. This is a community where people do have a sense of humor. Do you remember? I spoke to you, and you can go back and look at the video yesterday. And what I spoke about, your most valuable asset in this is not gold; it's brass. And because my brass was very firm last night, I bought when everything in my guts was screaming at me to sell. And I mentioned if you will buy when you are in terror because prices are going down and you think you're going to lose everything, if you will consistently do that, you will become wealthy in this game. And if you can't do that, if you will sell when things are going down, you will be
not the time you want to
you will be, as 70 to 90% of all investors become, loser.
You will be a loser?
In fact, you may already be a loser.
Well, let's try and make you all winners. Buy low, sell high.
But I think
don't buy when it's when the price is going up. That's the first time.
Well, yes, but right now I sort of think you'll probably be okay because we've got about 800 billion total invested in blockchain, and about 15 trillion in total invested in stock. So over time, some people have said the amount total in blockchain would go reasonably to about 10 trillion. So,
That's so much money, and we could all be rich on that much money.
We could all be rich. But that's basically just another factor of 10 from here. So that we're not talking about the factors of putting in $10 and waking up with a few million the next day anymore, unless we do something like go and find something small that's about to explode. And I tasked you with doing that, if you recall. And I would be interested because I don't know. Well, that's what I do. When it comes to stock, I know how to go find a promising small or micro cap stock, but I wouldn't really know how to find an ICO.
An ICO. Jeez.
An ICO.
So
okay.
So one of the things that the Ethereum platform is really cool about is it allows for companies to create their own coins using Ethereum as a base, and one of those coins are then called tokens. So one of the tokens I looked into was PayPie, which is it's a token that's emerging out of an already existing and very successful accounting firm. And so what they're going to do is they're going to be providing credit risk assessment scores based on the blockchain, which will give you real world, accurate, up to the minute credit risk assessments, which is kind of cool. and so they've got this like algorithm they've developed that should eliminate fraud and I don't know, bad credit risk, like, you know, bad loans, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, people are going to have access to a much more up to the minute. But what about people who feel like I'm oppressed by all banking systems knowing so much about my history? Is this not worse for me to have permanent records kept on everything I do wrong?
Because it's the blockchain. One, it's already out. You know, it's the information's already out there. It is anonymous.
Everyone has access to it.
Exactly. But so it'll provide full transparency in the financial institution.
That's a good point. It is very hard to abuse an information that everyone has access to.
Exactly. And so on top of this credit risk assessment algorithm that they've developed, they're going to be offering invoice factoring, which is where if a company is owed for an invoice, but they're not going to be paid on it in, say, 3 months, they can sell it on the PayPie marketplace for at a loss, and then and then pay it back once they do get paid. So that is one of the really cool things about PayPie is it's a passive income token. So not only do your tokens increase over time as the company, I don't know, does better, but you can make income on those tokens by trading them on the PayPie marketplace, which is kind of cool.
So, like, can you loan them out and get interest on them and things like that? Really?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And so what invoice fact? Oh, yeah. And so right now.
But the ticker symbol of this is
PPP.
Okay.
Wait, no. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
PPP. PayPal.
So they have not. So right now, I think it's $2.26 a share.
Okay. Up 22% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, you know, they first did they couldn't even offer an ICO, an initial coin offering, because they sold out all of their tokens in the pre-sale in hours. They were 30 cents a token and or 33 cents a token. So, and that was on October 8th, I believe. And then they hit their all-time high on January 13th.
As a lot of cryptocurrencies did, around 365.
Right. But it was $3.69 was their all-time high, and they're based on. There's another company that is doing invoice factoring on the blockchain, Populous, and based on what Populous has done, Populous also sold out in their ICO within hours, and their initial coin offering price was 33 cents, and that was June 31st. So by the beginning of August, 6 weeks later, they had increased by 10 times that number. They were $3 a share. And then by mid-December, they were $50 per token. So, and I mean, that product still has yet to be, the full product of Populous still has yet to be released. And so if you use that as kind of your example, if you will, PayPie is going to, I mean, they're already, up a lot from their ICO, and they could easily reach $50 a share by May.
$50 a share. Now we were talking about what would that make its so that would make its
this is why we were talking about market cap.
Yes. So if we were to go from 50 by 2.26 means a factor of 22 times our current market cap of 186 million. And you are proposing 4 billion, which would not make it the biggest of any token. There are some tokens that have already hit 6 billion. And so if this could be one of the biggest tokens, then that is a very realistic...
oh, yeah. And
that's very realistic.
The reason why I'm suggesting this now is because the alpha version of PayPie is scheduled to be rolled out on January 31st. So now would be a really good time to get into it. and then their full product will be released to the public in May. So I think by May we could easily see some really big, really good numbers, and we could all get rich. Now it's currently only available on the EtherDelta marketplace, and in the description to this video, we'll have a link if you've never used EtherDelta, we'll have a link to a video that explains how to set up that account and how to trade on that site. And we'll also link to a video that goes more in depth about what exactly PayPie is, because this is just a little overview.
Excellent. And are there any other? I'm trying to see if I can get it on like Binance or something.
You can. I don't know what Binance is.
It's just an exchange.
It's only available on EtherDelta.
Oh, only available on EtherDelta. Okay.
Yes, that's what I just said, sir.
All right.
Yeah, it's an E60 coin, which means it's using the Ethereum platform, and all of those coins are available on EtherDelta. Now, when it does get onto other other trading markets, the market share will increase again. But
now we say most likely when we say that because we don't give guarantees. We don't give guarantees here.
Or I'm not a prophet. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes, most likely it'll do well once it gets onto more marketplaces.
That would be the way things have happened.
Generally,
in
that's
the past.
That's a good.
We've got some positive momentum in the markets right now. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have a hard wallet by this time, a month from now.
Right?
Right, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, if you don't have one already, go buy one. They're not that expensive, and really, it's the only way to actually keep your stuff safe. Like, keeping anything on the internet is not a good idea. Why would you keep if you've got multiple thousands of dollars in a wallet on the internet, don't.
Well, the reason that some people from stock would be so comfortable with doing that is we do that all the time.
Right, but with stock you have safety guards, security measures.
You make a very good point.
I mean, with crypto coins, possession really is all of the law. Like.
No, yes. If I showed up at TD Ameritrade and I noticed my accounts were cleaned out, I could put in a call to the appropriate regulatory authorities, right? Which again is the
terrible thing about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, which is the appropriate regulatory authority that I would contact if my Bitcoin?
No, if you lose your cryptocurrencies, you are just no.
There is no regulatory authority
because it's all transparent. It's all on the blockchain. So you can see exactly where all your money went. Just good luck getting it back.
But yeah, it brings up an interesting case though. Are cryptocurrencies securities? If they are securities, the SEC can.
But I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about cryptocurrencies is there's not government regulation on it. It regulates it. It's a truly free market,
But see, that's one of the things that is causing the prices to fluctuation is not so much the United States right now, but around the world. Right. A lot of countries are trying to regulate it.
I know. Well,
China and now South Korea is making.
It's impossible. Well, I mean.
They risk driving it underground.
There's a lot of misinformation out, but about what China and South Korea are actually. They have not made it illegal.
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, the information's out there. Once people have the information, you can make it as illegal as you want, but it's not going to go anywhere. You can't unread a book, as they say.
Let's check how Long Island iced tea is doing. This was one of the companies that said, we're going to transition to blockchain something or other. And that was their statement, verbatim. Not quite, but I mean, they clearly didn't know what they're doing. They're just we're gonna, what the fuck? We'll see what happens if we.
And are they doing well?
That caused their market cap to rise by a factor of 5, from like 200 million to $1 billion overnight. So for guys to be able to say something like that and make $800 million has got to be tempting if you're a small business owner, right? But as I say, a lot of these stories are going to end in handcuffs because these guys have to answer to the SEC, and this is outright stock market fraud. 6, it looks like it may have peaked. See, this was where they went from 2 to, bam, 6 points.
Damn. Damn.
And it's still up there. So yeah. Kodak. Do you remember Kodak? Used to be a Dow 30 company, and then they didn't get on board in time in digital, and they basically got zeroed. So now the remnants of the company are saying, yeah, they exist, and they said we're going to do a blockchain something or other. And again, that was the exact press release. Okay, so
Finances.
this is why what I'm really interested in is Square right now, because you know what Square is? Square is the thing you put on your phone.
Yes.
It makes it able to accept credit cards. It also now acts as a digital wallet.
Right.
But it could maybe do something. They've downloaded this privately, I think, so they're getting ready to roll it out, that no one else can do, and that is, it'll be transactional. So I could use my Square and your Square to transmit Bitcoin or something like that, and perhaps even without big fees. So if Square gets off their ass and actually does this, this will be a revolution. This will put Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies back in the street. Cryptocurrency for your coffee, cryptocurrency for your newspaper.
They're offering it on Craigslist now. You can. There's a special search thing where you can search only where it's okay to pay in cryptocurrencies. I mean, these things are coming everywhere.
Well, in fact, in terms of people accepting Bitcoin, it's going down because the fees are going up right now.
Right.
But the fees are going up because the blockchains are getting, the networks are getting crowded because the demand for their use is so much higher than their current technological limitations. That's why Ethernet. Ethernet? Not Ethernet. This is a cable. Ethereum is basically frozen. It was a great idea, but the blockchain is extremely unwieldy. And so many things are done. You know, every copy of the blockchain node has got to have every transaction made with every CryptoKitty and every. You should see some of my CryptoKitties. I've got one named Bob's Lifestyles. He's got a little mustache. And when the market starts rolling again, I know he's going to be worth a lot of money.
The market's never going to start rolling again.
The top kitties have traded for $140,000.
Why would people pay money for this? I mean, that's real money.
Yes, for the same reason they pay money for anything else, because they think they'll be paid more money for it by someone else.
Anyway, moving on.
She's an enemy of CryptoKitties. She's never seen my CryptoKitties. She doesn't know how cute they are.
I have seen his CryptoKitties.
Okay.
They're digital cats. They're not even like what do you remember those things that you like nano pets? You know, like at least
that's right. They're not like Tamagotchis.
You don't even have to feed them and take care of them. They just sit there.
Right.
But look pretty.
Well, and in fact, what the next generation of them. To be able to raise a stable of monsters and breed them, super, but they also need to be able to fight head to head, right?
Do something and don't do it on the freaking blockchain because oh my god, it crashed the blockchain.
It crashed the blockchain, but the promise of Ethereum, the reason that the demand for Ethereum is not just 10 times higher than what it can do, but something in the neighborhood of about 100,000 times higher. Because if you look at the total amount of greater power the network would need just to handle CryptoKitties right now, you're talking at least 10 times more, maybe 100. Now, to handle all collecting card games beyond that would be another factor of 10. To handle electronic entertainment beyond that would be another factor of about 100.
But why does it have to happen on the blockchain?
That's a good question. Now, there's the question of side chains, but that creates a matter of security when you're moving money from the blockchain into and out of the side chain.
Leave the blockchain for business and have pleasure like on the Xbox.
Only if we're thinking small, because that would mean the demand was never so big. With all these people competing for the demand for time on the network, they're driving what's called the gas price, the transactional price up. And that means it's more attractive for miners to come in. That grows the power of the network faster. And that's why Ethereum, not Bitcoin, actually has this incredible incentive to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes.
No, I
bigger
see
and
what you
bigger
did
and
there.
bigger. When you get Ethereum, it's like when you get Bitcoin, let me put it this way. It's like a firecracker going off in your mind. When you get Ethereum, it's like an atom bomb.
I agree.
All right. I don't know if we're going to do better than that today. Why don't we leave people on that note?
Yeah, look in the description for links to videos about PayPie and Ether Delta, and we'll see you next time.